Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Well, I got to tell you, this week is passing really fast. Not being with you on Monday, it kind of throws my calendar all off, and it's like, whoa, what day is it? What am I doing here? So anyway, doing the best we can, all right? So we're looking at Matthew 24, verse 36. Where Jesus said, "But of that day and hour knows no man, no, not the angels, but my Father only." And that's a conflation of Matthew and Mark. And so, was Jesus drawing a contrast, a temporal contrast, between his discussion of the fall of Jerusalem in verses 1 to 34 and his imaginary end of time coming at the end of the endless Christian age? Or was he just refining everything that he had said up to that point and telling the apostles that although they could know that it was going to happen in their generation, verse 34, they could not know the day and the hour? Now, one of the amazing things to me is that those who make this argument, as a matter of fact, in my recent debate with Sam Frost, Mr. Frost tried to make that argument. Matthew 24:36, no man knows the day and the hour. Well, listen, as I pointed out in the debate, and Mr. Frost had not a word to say in response to it, by the way, when Jesus spoke those words in Matthew 24:36, he did not know the day and the hour. However, we cannot forget the fact that Jesus said he was going to return to the Father who knew the day and the hour, would send the Spirit to the apostles. When he sent the Holy Spirit to the apostles, number one, he would guide them into all truth. Number two, he would show them things to come. So there's the promise that after receiving the Holy Spirit sent by the Father, who knew the day and the hour of Christ's coming, the apostles would know and understand about things to come. It is horribly anachronistic to say, well, in Matthew 24:36, Jesus didn't know, therefore the apostles in the epistles did not know. What happened to the Holy Spirit? You see, every single epistle that we have was written by a man, inspired by the Holy Spirit, sent by the Father who knew the day and the hour. It was that Father who knew the day and the hour, who caused those apostles to say, "The end of all things has drawn near. The time has come for the judgment. The coming of the Lord has drawn near. These things must shortly come to pass." As a matter of fact, as I pointed out in my debate with Mr. Frost, Revelation chapter 1, verse 1 to 3 could not be more powerful in light of the revelatory spirit. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God, that's the Father, who knew the day and the hour, gave to him to signify to his servants things which must shortly come to pass. So here is John being told, the Father telling Jesus to instruct the churches that the book of Revelation must shortly come to pass. Did the Father lie to Jesus, who in turn lied to the churches? No. When we look at Matthew 24:36, in light of the revelatory work of the Holy Spirit, we very soon realize it is absolutely an abuse of hermeneutic. It is improper exegesis. It's not exegesis at all. It's ignoring what is in the text. When we attempt to make Matthew 24:36 and the statement of Jesus' then temporal ignorance of the time of his coming and impose that ignorance on all other texts written after the sending of the Holy Spirit, we are doing a tremendous disservice. I mean, after all, when Paul said, "And now, knowing the time. Literally, knowing the hour. It is high time for you to wake out of your sleep. What, Paul? What did you say? Paul was saying several years, 30 plus, after the sending of the Holy Spirit, Paul was saying, we know the hour. And John wrote, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 18, little children, it is the last hour. John, how did you know that? And John's response was, he had the unction from the Spirit, 1 John 2, 21 to 28. And as a result of the unction of the Spirit, he knew all things. He knew what time it was. So once again, to ignore the revelatory work of the Holy Spirit, who is to be sent by the Father, who knew the day and the hour, to inspire the apostles, to understand all spiritual truth and things to come, and try to apply Jesus' temporal ignorance and temporary, to impose that ignorance on all of those texts written after the sending of the Spirit by the Father who knew the day and the hour, is absolutely, number one, anachronistic. Number two, it's an abuse of hermeneutic. Number three, it's an abuse of exegesis. Listen, you need to get a copy of my book, We Shall Meet Him in the Air, The Wedding of the King of Kings. Go to my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com. Order the book. Be sure to send me a note that says you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll refund your shipping. In this book, you will find an extensive discussion of Matthew 24 and verse 36 that will truly be helpful to you. All right? Hey, thanks for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. Don't forget, we will continue our refutation of Mr. Lance Conley's book, Hope Resurrected, on the flip side.